Hey there, and welcome. Have you ever wondered how a massive online store, one with millions of products, figures out the perfect price for every single item, every single day? Well, today we're diving into the pretty fascinating science behind all that online pricing, where old school economics is going head to head with some seriously cutting edge AI. So, how does this whole new science of pricing actually work? Let's get into it. So let's just start with the main problem, right? A big company might have thousands, maybe even millions of different products. They can't just guess the price for each one. No way. They need a system, some kind of model that can predict how you, the customer, are going to react if they bump up the price of milk by 10 cents or slash the price of a new TV by 50 bucks. So, how did they do it? For decades, economists have had this one really powerful tool to answer that exact question. It's a core concept, and it's called price elasticity. Now, this idea is actually pretty simple, but it's also incredibly powerful. Price elasticity of demand. It basically just asks this. If we nudge the price of something up by just 1%, by what percentage will our sales go down? It's really the fundamental formula for predicting what we're all going to do when we see a price tag change. This whole idea really splits into two big categories. So, on one side, you've got what's called elastic demand. Think about a can of soda. If its price goes up even just a little, you can super easily just switch to another brand, right? Sales for that soda are going to drop a lot. But then on the other side, you've got inelastic demand. These are the things you kind of have to buy, where a price change isn't going to stop you nearly as much. And that brings us right to what economists call necessity goods. You know what these are: essential foods, water, medicine you might need. Because we can't really do without them, our demand for them is way less sensitive to price. If we need it, we'll probably find a way to buy it. So, economists use the scale to measure all this. The numbers are usually negative, which makes sense because when the price goes up, demand goes down. A value between 0 and -1 means it's pretty inelastic. But if you see a value like, say, -2, that's a big deal. That means a tiny 1% price increase would cause a whopping 2% drop in sales. Now, that is a very elastic product. Okay, so this seems like a perfect system, doesn't it? You just calculate the elasticity for every single product and then you set your price. Well, not so fast. In the world of modern e-commerce, this classic model has a really serious glitch. And here it is. And this is straight from the research that inspired this whole explainer. The author, Kirill Safafon, he pinpoints the core problem: small price variation. But what does that actually mean? So here's the thing. For these classic economic models to actually learn anything, they need a ton of data. Specifically, they need to see a long history of different prices for the same item to figure out how customers responded. But think about it. A lot of products online just sit at the exact same price for months, sometimes even years. And without that price variation, that up and down, the old model is basically just flying blind. So to solve this very modern problem, researchers are turning to an equally modern solution: the artificial neural network. All right, so instead of just staring at price history, the AI model takes a completely different route. It looks at everything else about the product: its category, its brand, its features, you name it. It then creates a totally unique digital fingerprint for that item. It learns that, for example, organic gluten-free pasta behaves differently in the market than store-brand pasta, and it uses that deeper understanding to predict demand. Now, this is the really clever part. The secret sauce is how the AI learns. It's never actually shown the price when it's being trained. And this is a brilliant little trick because it forces the model to understand the inherent nature of a product, rather than just memorizing how it's sold at one specific price in the past. It makes the whole system way more flexible and way more powerful. So we have our two contenders: the classic econometric model and the new AI challenger. Researchers put them to the test in two different arenas. First, a perfect, clean simulation. And second, the messy, chaotic real world. They started off by building a kind of digital sandbox, a simulated store where they could control absolutely everything. This let them precisely manage how often prices changed, creating the absolute perfect environment to test that low price variation problem. And here you can really see the test in action. So on the left, you see sales for a product just bouncing all over the place, day to day, just like real life. But then look to the right. That's the price for the very same product. It's just flat for hundreds of days at a time. This is the exact challenge these models have to figure out. And the results were, well, they were dramatic. That solid line you see, that represents the error rate for the traditional model. On the left side, where price changes are really rare, its error is just huge. It's lost. But that dashed line, that's the AI. Its error rate stays low and stable no matter how little the price changes. In the simulation, the AI was the clear winner, no question. Okay, a simulation is one thing. That's the easy part. But the real test is using actual messy sales data from a major online retailer. Does the AI's advantage actually hold up when things get complicated? And this is where it gets absolutely wild. Using real-world data, the classic economic model produced results that were fundamentally wrong 20% of the time. Think about that. It predicted that for 1/5 of all products, raising the price would actually make more people buy them. I mean, that breaks the most basic law of economics. This final chart just says it all. The blue curve, that shows the elasticity estimates from the AI model. Notice how it's entirely on the negative side of that graph, which is exactly where it's supposed to be according to economic theory. Now look at the red curve from the old model. Yikes. It's not only way less confident, but a huge chunk of it is over on the positive side, representing those physically impossible predictions. Okay, so let's process that. The AI model is clearly more accurate. What does this actually mean for us as consumers and just as people trying to understand the economy? Well, the big takeaway is this. AI is fundamentally changing how major economic decisions are made. It's what makes dynamic pricing possible, where prices can change minute to minute based on what's happening. The prices we pay are no longer just set by a person with a spreadsheet. They're the output of these incredibly complex machine learning models that are constantly learning and adapting in real time. Which kind of leaves us with one final thought. The next time you see a price mysteriously drop or jump on your favorite website, are you just catching a good deal? Or are you an unknowing participant in a massive, real-time economic experiment being run by an AI? Thanks for joining me.